Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, witches and wizards. Thanks for joining us today here on Nom Talk. So, hi, basically, today's going to be a special that we're going to do. So, more of a holiday highlight special where we, the host, you've seen on Nom Talk Network, give you our top picks for Halloween season while eating and drinking our favorite movie snacks and drinks. I'm your host, Alejandro Cowie, and today I am shamelessly having a Dr. Pepper with a little bit of fries and some nuggets here that you can see blended in this mystical pumpkin patch of mine. Ooh, spooky. Yes, I know. But I'm going to introduce you to my fellow guests today and what they're eating. And well, they'll explain what they're eating when I introduce them. I'm sorry, guys. Jordyn, introduce you, my friend, and what you're eating today.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all again. My name is Jordyn Orozco. I am having a wonderful, it's meatloaf and mashed potato, little mix here, little bowl. I'm so excited. It's from Costco. You just like put it in the oven and it's just so sexy. I'm enjoying a little spooky little Mai Tai along with it. So
Excellent. That sounds absolutely delicious. Erric, introduce yourself and what you're eating with us today.
Hi, I'm Erric Ramirez. I am drinking a lovely atomic pumpkin after the weekend I've had, and plus it's pumpkin season, so these are delicious. And then my partner right now is actually making dinner. I don't know exactly what he's making, but I'm excited. It smells delicious.
That sounds like the best, especially when you're like expecting it's just being made. Fantastic. Then again, look, I get 2 homemade dinners. I'm jealous already as it is, but to each their own right now. Mike, can you introduce yourself and what you're having with us today?
Certainly. I'm Mike Manalo from the Nerds of Color. How are you guys? I am eating my dinner right now is rice and teriyaki chicken from a place called Sensa, which is pretty decent, and a Coke Zero.
Right on, right on. Well, I guess I'm going with fast food today. All right, it's cool, whatever. Well, excellent. So we're gonna go right into it. We're gonna go ahead and start with, I would say, kid-friendly movies with our Halloween picks. It would stay safe for children. I'm gonna go ahead and go into and start with Jordyn, my friend. What would your pick be today for, let's say, what you consider safe for children for a Halloween pick? Sorry.
absolutely. My Halloween pick for safe for children would be Hocus Pocus. Avi, right? Like that's going to be the mains. It's the main movie. It always comes on every year. It's always on 31 Days of Halloween. It's on Disney Plus now. And especially with the debut of Hocus Pocus 2, which we'll be talking, on this channel, soon. It became such an amazing staple for me in my life. So I know some of you may know this, but I named my first cat Binks because it was a she, even though the cat in the movie was a he. But this cat looked exactly like Thackeray Binks. And so, yes. And so I have a little, you can't really see it, but that says Binks on it. Yeah. So like, that's when she died. Like, so I have like her name and then the date that she died, which ironically it was 11/13/11. So it was like a weird, like, thing, but he made the 13 big. Yeah. He made the 13 like spooky and big. And I was like, oh, I love you. And it was just, that movie has just been a staple in my family for a long time. And I just remember it being on TV and watching it with both of my parents and just like loving it. You know what I mean? Like it was Bette Midler. It was freaking Sarah Jessica Parker. It was Kathy Najimy. And they just played the part so well. It was such a freaking like, it was a movie of its time. And I think kids even to this day will love it. Right. And, it's just a Halloween staple for me.
Totally. Excellent. Well, I'm going to have to go ahead and slide right in here, which we have some irony here for going ahead and inserting my favorite child movie because it's also Hocus Pocus. I have to, I can't help it. It's one of those things, and I'll have to like insert it. Jordyn, you hit everything like straight nail head when it comes to that family feel of a movie. And the crazy thing, in my opinion, about this film is that to me, it may not be the best acting, it may not be the best delivery, but for some odd reason the all-around package everything together makes it a staple film. And to me, the biggest thing is that as much as I enjoyed Disney as a kid, it wasn't a Disney release. When it came out originally, it was like anti-Disney. In fact, it was made specifically to go ahead and be like, we're going to go ahead and be the Disney like Halloween killer at this moment. And it blew up more of a cult classic than they expected. So I guess to me, essentially, like you said, I'm a sucker for the cat. Just the fact that there's a talking cat being a familiar with the Sandersons. It's just, I mean, they have a strong, unfortunate bond as I see it as a kid, because they terrify me a little bit. Had low-key crush on one, and we'll go that later. But the whole point is the fact that they scared the living daylights because they want to eat children, you know. So being that whole classic witch vibe, I have to agree with you. It's one of those things too, in which it has to be, to me, I can't not think of them, the Sanderson sisters, as witches now. Like in regards to, like, if I think of the term witch, it has to be them now. As ironic as it may seem, there are some other terms that will be, of course, exceptions such as Sabrina, but once again, the Sanderson sisters definitely have that little niche in that part of my heart when it comes to term witch and Halloween in general. But I can't really add on much to love of it, other than the fact that, given that we're looking at the concept of I would say the ability to scare children per se, with the indication that they're about to be gobbled up, but at the same time implication of classic Halloween concepts without scaring kids too much. And we'll be definitely talking about this later in the future in regards to Nom Talk and celebrating, and just part 2 as well. But anyway, we'll go into that later. Erric, I want to hop onto you, my friend, going into what your Halloween pick would be in regards to a kid-friendly movie.
My Halloween pick, because I'm a DCOM kid, like early 90s or late 90s, early 2000, will be Halloween Town. It's kiddie. There's really nothing like wrong with that movie, just a cool adventure about kids going to this Halloween town with all these monsters and ghouls and seeing them. They're not actually bad. Like, I grew up with that. I watch it every Halloween. That's one of my staples to go to. My nieces and nephews too, because I obviously had to buy the DVD. I show it to them and they fall in love with it, and they're just like, hey, can we watch this? It's just wholesome, and there's nothing really bad about that movie. It's campy, much like Hocus Pocus. It's campy and corny, but you love it. And it's not as dark as Hocus Pocus, but I also think of the witch from that as well. Witches from that, those are my go-to as well.
Oh, that's totally that vibe. I get that for sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize.
Oh no, you're fine. And then also, like, all the ones after that, you have to go back to the OG Halloween Town. The ones after that are really okay, but the OG Halloween Town with Debbie Reynolds and everything, because I'm a musical theater person as well, that drew me in as well.
I'm sorry, Halloween Town was scarier than Hocus Pocus. I remember watching that and being so afraid of the villain the entire time. Like Hocus Pocus, I was like, at least
the Calabar guy,
at least the witches are likable, and you're on a journey with them, and they're fabulous the entire time, right? Like, you can sing, you enchant people, like, we love you. But like Calabar, I don't want to mess with that
on him too. Was like,
I do have to say that whole thing of it when they're in the theater and everybody's like decrepit and covered in cobwebs and everything. At that point, I was afraid of spiders. That did get me.
Yeah.
Jordan was like,
my partner would not like
no. That was like an early 28 Days Later for me, where it was like, they're in like the church and they all just like pop up and they're like, fuck you. Like, that was Halloween Town for me. I was like, oh my God, this is so scary.
See, that was me with H&R Puff and stuff. I'm going to be real with you back in the day.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm sorry, getting too off topic here. Mike, I have to come to you, my friend, after we said like terrifying PTSD moments of what would be a non-PTSD moment for a kid-friendly one. For a kid-friendly Halloween movie.
Well, first off, I respect to your picks. They're staples, absolutely, for Halloween. I'm going to go with something that I don't think a whole lot of people have seen. In 31 Days of Halloween, they used to play Leica movies like Coraline and Paranorman. So my choice is actually Paranorman. They stopped playing it this year, and it is such. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see it, and it looks from the ways that you guys are nodding. You guys have. but not a whole lot of people have. And to me, it's such a beautiful, beautiful movie. This is like 5 popcorns out of 5 popcorns. And not only is the animation just stunning, because the geniuses at Leica, who work so terrifically hard to make these movies look terrific, but the storyline is super deep, it's super complex, it's super mature, and it's heart-wrenching as well. Because in a movie that's, populated with zombies and witches and ghosts, the scariest thing are people and the effects of bullying on a human being. So at the end of the film, when the hero has a final standoff with the antagonist of the movie, which is a, quote unquote, a witch, the ghost of a girl witch, you realize, you just cry for her. You sympathize with her, and it breaks your heart completely because of how brutal people can be. But then how late they sort of sometimes realize, that those issues and end up changing a little bit too late. But it's such a beautiful and wonderful movie. I think it's perfect for kids. I think it's perfect for adults. It's got a deep, rich message. And it's just, you can't beat the quality of the animation that goes into it and storytelling. It's wonderful, wonderful movie, honestly.
I can't. It's funny you should say that. I have to agree with you. It was definitely an unexpected film. One of those films I didn't. It was one of those my friends said, "Hey, do you want to come over and watch it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And one of those times by the end of the film, I was like, "Why am I crying? This is ridiculous." You're right. The monsters were truly the people themselves. I hate saying something so cheesy like that, but it's like so much truth in that. And oh god, the animation for that was pretty gnarly for that time. Nail on the head with that. There goes too much on my personal opinion on that. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, we're going to go on the next one we're talking about here, which is going to be Poop Your Pants Scary. So we're going to go across the way here. I'm going to go ahead and start off here going in and talking about Dawn of the Dead. Actually, you know what? Give me 1 second here. I want to take a pause here because we are looking at a comment here with Q, our friend, our OG here. He says, "What's up, all?"
Q.
What's up, Q? Saying hello, my friend. So he pops in with a comment here saying, "What's up, all the 3 Halloween movies I love watching every year? Dracula, 1931, Halloween, 1978, and The Crow, 1994.
Oh,
Good one.
Those films touch my soul in many ways, and for the kid-friendly Halloween movie would be The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like the perfect movie for the kids who both love Halloween and Christmas, and the perfect transition movie between both holidays." Q, all of us, you hear like this, like coinciding this like sigh and all these acknowledgements, dude. I fully agree on that as well, too. I have to say one of my favorite films out of that 3 is The Crow, 1994. I can't, Lord, I'm a sucker for it. I probably based half of my Halloween love off, Brandon Lee, R.I.P., and his form of The Crow in general. So that is fantastic. But we're gonna go transition back into Poop Your Pants Scary, which I will also say Q, Halloween 1978. That was very Poop Your Pants Scary for me. I have the scene transition in my head with the kid pinned against the tree and fine flames. Anyway, different thing, different time. So I want to just talk about Dawn of the Dead. We're going to talk about the Snyder cut. So in regards to the introduction to me, I will have to say this was Poop Your Pants Scary for me. I love zombie films, mainly because they make me practically want to poop my pants. But also the fact that I just enjoy like the adrenaline rush. And when you're talking about Dawn of the Dead, to me, it was the first moment they took a modern zombie movie and made it relatable. You automatically go into this badass heroine woman that works in a hospital, transition in life, going, okay, she's hard life. Where's this coming from? To she gets shoved in immediately from somebody getting scratched and bit, and the child coming in to the neighborhood's room and just greeting it. And you're like, oh, look at the kid friendly coming in to take care of it, but half your face is gone, and unfortunately, so is now your boo thing next to you. And it goes immediately into like scary of where's she going to go? Is she going to live? What's going on? And goes immediately into 3 other stories that could be from a cop, could be from this couple, one being pregnant, could be from a guy that comes from the other side of the train tracks trying to turn his life around. But at the same time, they all come from this hub that eventually leads them to the concept of a mall locking themselves in. But the crazy shots that they did from a above perspective, which they looked like they did drone shots, CGI moments showing cars running into massive tanks and explosions, that it just way too dramatic than it should be, but also really hit the point. made you really understand that there was nowhere to go, that the world is pretty much terrified and stuck in a zombie apocalypse, and then took you to the point where it took you to about 4 people, and these 4 people are now on the brink of like trying to survive themselves in the middle of this mall. Of course, you have things from, secrets being hidden, people coming in, which Mike, you mentioned earlier, the concept of unfortunately humans being the monsters themselves, which actually turns its head a couple times in this film, which really excites me. The zombie films is the fact that human nature. A big thing for me is I always tell my friends, if there is like a pack of zombies in front of you and there's a person you think that you really care about on the other side, a big determining factor is whether they run away or they help you. So it's one of those things that I've always thought in my mind that you see in every movie. And I think that this film itself reflects that very well. Anyway, that being said, I want to actually start with you, Mike, in regards to Poop Your Pants Scary. What would your choice be, my friend, and why?
So I thought long and hard about this, and the one movie whose imagery just stays in my head every single year is 1981's Evil Dead movie, the Sam Raimi, The Evil Dead. I'm not talking about Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, the comedic ones. I'm talking about that first terrifying freaking installment in the franchise, the original Cabin in the Woods horror movie, where the 4 friends go in there, they discover the Necronomicon bound in flesh and written in human blood, and then all of a sudden these deadites start possessing each and every single one with those creepy looking eyes. And when he locks his girlfriend in the basement, she's just like, "We're gonna get you, and it's just like, and they're laughing, and like the voices are terrifying. The sound in that movie for like a crazy low budget student horror movie that Sam Raimi put together is still terrifying to this day, as is the imagery. And honestly speaking, it just goes full on crazy when he has to start dismembering everybody and the blood just flying and everything. You can't get any scarier than that, in my opinion. And I remember several Halloweens, I would just watch that over and over and over every single year. And it just, showing it the first time, people who are like, oh, this is an old movie, this isn't going to be scary, the effects are cheesy, this is so lame. As soon as they get to when the friends start getting possessed by deadites, they're just like, oh my God, what is happening? And I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, for me, it's the what do you call it? The basement, dude. That to me, I can't. Oh my God, dude.
So terrifying, so creepy. The tree scene's iconic. The car's iconic. Yeah, cutting off the hair. So good. Perfect balance of gore, terrifying imagery, exorcism movies. You name it. This is everything. Honestly, this is everything I'm terrified of.
I love the fact that you said it with a smile too.
You're like, this is great.
This is everything I'm terrified of. Yeah.
I really agree. Like,
yes.
Exactly, so right? Exactly.
Everyone out there thinks I'm a serial killer right now. I'm honestly not. No. But then again, a serial killer would probably say that. So you never know.
It is all good. I totally relate that. For some odd reason, I smile as I watch zombie movies as well too. So I'm like, oh, this is great. No, a bad day.
In immediate fear, you can't help but to smile and be like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my Lord. So we're gonna transition to you, Erric, my friend, going into speaking of moments that you don't want to die. What would your choice be, my friend, for Poop Your Pants Scary?
Poop Your Pants Scary for me is David Lynch's 1977 Eraserhead. That movie for me, I've only seen it actually like 3 times. Because it's like this industrial apocalyptic era with this, and there's only 4 characters really. Him and his girlfriend and this mutant baby that they have, but it's just so gross and strange and just put you in this world that you're like, what the heck am I watching right now? I don't want to be watching this, but I'm gonna continue. Yeah, I can't sit through that movie anymore because it terrifies the hell out of me. I watched it at my house with my partner and his family, and all of us were sitting there just like, why?
Wait a minute. You took a Poop Your Pants Scary movie and you took your partner and his family to watch it?
That sounds like the perfect date.
Her boyfriend, his roommate, and him. We all sat in the living room and watched it. And I was just like, no, this is not. We're watching it.
Perfect date. Perfect date.
Yeah. How'd it go? Did they like it?
I mean, clearly they're still together.
we had drinks after, lots and lots of drinks to process what had happened. Because if you watch that movie, Poop Your Pants, weird, like you're going to go into another perception of your own reality when you watch this movie. But it's so good. I suggest everybody watches it. But like 5 out of 5, like poop your pants.
5 out of 5 poops.
No popcorn. Poop your pants.
Out of 5 poop emojis.
5 out of 5 poops. I love it. All right. Jordyn, my friend, what would be your choice for pooping your pants scary?
So I know everybody's like, all the old classics, all that shit. I have to go with Neil Marshall's 2005, The Descent. This movie, literally, when it came out, so this was a year before I graduated high school. And I remember just seeing trailers and being like, I want to fucking go see this, right? And I'm like, okay, like, cool. Like, they're going caving and all that stuff, right? I just remember being in the theater and just absolutely being scared shitless, and I will tell you why. I've always wanted to go cave splunking, right? And and you always hear about like these cave systems being connected and like national parks, like all this stuff, people go missing, all this shit. And when this movie originally started, right, like you're not really expecting a lot, right? Because it's a bunch of women, they like get together, obviously, they go whitewater rafting and it's cute and it's awesome and something's going on, right?
Yeah.
And then you have that scene literally in the first like maybe 10 minutes, the family dies. And you're like, and it's brutal. It's brutal. The daughter dies, and you're like, whoa. And then the whole entire time you're like, oh, this is going to be a brutal movie. And then throughout the entire time, it like is minor jump scares, I would say. It's like, and you're like, oh, okay, cool, blah, blah. But I think this melds together the fact that like humans are assholes, but also like monster horror flick movie with gore, but like actual realistic gore, not like Army of Darkness gore where you're like, okay, like come on. But this is like realistic, like if this
that was pretty accurate, realistic, I agree.
Accurate. And then like and then the entire movie, I was just hooked the entire time. And what's amazing is I didn't read the book until like many years later. Actually, it was during quarantine, and I read the book and I was like, oh, this is very different. But at the same time, I was like, in order to make that like an actual movie, they would need probably like a series or like several movies. But this movie, let me tell you something, this movie freaked me out like in a whole lot of ways, because not only do you have psychological where they're like trapped, you actually have physical manifestations of, if you get trapped in a cave, like this is what actually happens to you. Like you freak out, like if you get trapped in a epoxy cave, like all this stuff happens. And then you introduce monsters into the mix and you're like, oh, we're all fucked, right? And so I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I watch it every year just to, during Halloween. And I watch it when it's not Halloween, because I fucking love this movie. It's so good. And even The Descent too, like it wasn't that bad. Like it was almost a decent follow-up to this. Yeah. And so that would be my poop your pants movie when I was just like, yeah, nah. Like the first time I saw it. Oh, this is like, yeah, for me, it was like 7 out of 5 poops. I was pooped out.
We are children, and I think we all love it.
Jordyn, do you still want to go cave spelunking after that?
Absolutely.
Oh, it's fun.
And if that's how I'm gonna die, with some monsters that are undiscovered in the world, I would be fine with it. I'd be fine with it.
So here's a question for you. In regards to the film as well, how are you with claustrophobia?
I'm okay. I'm not claustrophobic, but that movie made me claustrophobic.
I'm like, I thought I wasn't claustrophobic until I saw that movie. Something about the moments where she had to shimmy through those like shimmy rocks to escape like OG crawling people. I was like, nah, I'm good. I ain't gonna do that. And I think at some point the fact that I can't push up would get to me, and I would be like all gone. And Lord, I give you
and the fact that like if you hyperventilate, like it creates more mass right here, and like you couldn't get through, and you literally have to
your chest cavity is just becoming that
like,
block,
oh
right?
God, oh my God. And then the fact that the cave in, she could have got smashed. You know what I mean? So it was just like it was a thrill the whole time.
I'm good.
And I just, yeah. So it was, I love that movie.
Mike, you'd even ask me, and no, I don't want to fucking go spelunking ever again. Not that I ever went. No, but before I forget here, we got some great comments here from Q. He mentions Dawn of the Dead is pretty close scary for me, and as a asthmatic, I almost had an asthma attack from watching those scenes from. I'm sorry, it sucks, man. That's not great from a psychological point of view of what those people would or have to do. And honestly, there are some scenes there in that film that have got me to, like I said, it's not that you necessarily want to see that specific scene again, but you're in the moment going, that is something I'm like, oh God, that's kind of the reason why I want to see the film, just not necessarily that scene per se, but for the intense moment, you're like, yeah, humans are dicks. But also he mentions, what about the Saw films? Oh my God. Okay, so Q, and I don't, and guys, please enter, please enter your opinion here on here. I almost had to stop after Saw 3, and not because the Saws were bad. It was because I couldn't stand seeing needles and blades and things going into people, and it wasn't like, oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre brutal. It was, you have to do it to get to something to save the person because somehow you did something wrong, and it makes me cringe even more. And I almost get to the point where I'm like, I just can't do it because I imagine myself, and I don't like that. I can't do it myself. I don't know about you guys. I don't know your opinions on it. On the Saw films, if you've seen them all.
No,
seen them all.
Those needle parts. Oh, especially like in the second one where he throws her into the like.
Yeah, just tosses her like a basket of apples.
No.
I'm like, no joking. It was horrible. I won't go into that. Makes it cringe. But yeah, Q. No, it's a all unanimous. Fuck that. It makes us. That is definitely I would say that's poop your pants scary for me.
Like the Final Destination, just like real world more a little bit of horror films.
I think it's also different when you talk about like a horror film that has to do with torture. I remember seeing this. I don't know if it was Japanese, but I think it was called The Doctor, or it was called, and it was about a woman
where she did the eye. Oh no!
And she was like dee, 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 and like stuck the needle in the eye. I saw that, and I never ever want to see that shit ever again. I love needles. I love watching my blood getting taken. I love watching them put the vaccine in my arm.
You love
do you know what I mean?
Your blood get taken?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's fascinating. Like I'm not. I'm like, really, both of you?
I hate needles.
Oh, absolutely.
I have to look away. No. After it's fine.
When I had surgery and they had to put the IV in, I was like, I want to look. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And then they were like, they had to take blood, and I was like, I want to look. I don't know what it is. It doesn't bother me. I think I've become so insensitive from like zombie movies, Walking Dead, like all that stuff where I'm like, it doesn't bother me in real life.
So maybe in a Saw situation, you would actually be fine.
So here's the here. I'm going to admit this. I've never seen any Saw movie for that reason. And the only way I've been exposed to Saw is playing Dead by Daylight and being the victim of like the pig that's like walking around.
Yeah.
Yes. I won't watch it. Why? Because I don't want, like, something about being tortured and exposed to those things is just it's weird, and it's just weird to me.
So I will say, don't watch Hostel.
Oh God, I saw it. One. Oh Jesus Christ.
Saw it. Yeah.
You're okay with the torture porn in Hostel? I guess.
No, I'm not okay with it, but I watched it.
Okay, got it. You had to endure
it. Yeah.
Fair.
No, and the same thing with Hostel. I guess in the situation with that, I think being limited and not being able to go anywhere obviously is a big thing. From a scare actor perspective, it's interesting. I've actually worked in a Saw related maze and worked with people that actually worked in them. And it's interesting seeing guests walk through those particular mazes. They don't really freak out per se, seeing those things per se, but what gets them the most, it seems, is when you actually they think they're experiencing it. So there's a point where you actually have things coming down, they make you feel like you're getting sparks, but in reality, all it is just slowly little drips of water that you feel on occasion. So it's an act. It's as if you're getting shocked. And I've never seen people freak out so much. Like, oh, here, look at the guy's getting shocked. That's great. They're like, ha, and it happens like, oh my God. And then it's totally opposite. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I agree with you. A lot of other people are like, yeah, I'll watch it, but the whole torture thing, I don't know. So, oh my God. So I'm sorry, Mike, I didn't know if you wanted to say something.
Yeah. No, I will say that first movie has probably one of the most clever twists ever in a horror movie. I think you wait until the very end. And you know what I love is that whole first movie, it wasn't about the torture porn. That's certainly how the franchise became very popular, but this was just a one-shot movie about these terrible people in this terrible situation and posing the question back at the viewer, what would you do if you were in this situation? And that I think is what really made it scary. You're immersing the viewer into the situation, and you're turning them into the victim, and then the twist at the end happens and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this whole time there's this dead body here, and it ends up being something way more than that. And it really
I was so pissed.
Well,
yeah, right.
You have to think about it's ingenious that they didn't have much money for it, so there's really no outside shot scenes, so they had to focus on the story and the scare. So that's brilliant about the first Saw.
It does exactly what the best horror movies do, which is just put you in the situation and ask you what would you do if you were the person in the film. So I love that.
Okay, and from that perspective, everyone hit the nail on the head. It's from the perspective shot or for situational awareness, and the fact that they kind of set a tone for future films as well. I mean, now when we still see films, it's always like, it's kind of Saw, or it's like, it's kind of like a new Saw. And I mean, and honestly, I'll be real. I always make this comparison. Always make the Romeo and Juliet comparison. Because technically Romeo and Juliet was based on a actual older story of Tristan and Isolde, much older of its time. But in reality, there's hundreds and hundreds of films that have the classic case of Romeo and Juliet. Does it make them any less better? Nah, I think some of them are great. Some of them are obviously copycats and whatever it's the case, but as long as there's a backing to them, it's fantastic. So on that note, other scary movies being influenced by Saw could be fantastic too. Going back to comics really quick here. Oh, sorry, go on, please. But by all means, please, Jordyn, go on.
No, I think we have time, but I will say a strong second for me would be movies like The Strangers, where you have this this outer force of people that are trying to infiltrate a couple that just got married, right? They're back, and excuse me, I remember seeing that movie and legitimately being like, this could literally happen to anybody. And that scared me, right?
Yeah,
where it's it could literally happen to anybody, and it's almost just like somebody could be, a family could become obsessed, and they're just like, we ought to kill you, and it's fine, and they're like, no, it's not. But it was that end scene, the end where they're just torturing and stabbing, right? And then they're like, no, stop it. But that was a strong second for me. It's the whole.
I can see that vibe for that too, because on that same note, with that same situation, to me it's the whole Purge series, and that was a strong thing I wanted to think about possibly doing this. I absolutely love every single one of them, and the reason why is because it's a possibility, and I've unfortunately been around people that are willing to be like, hey, it's not a bad idea, and I was like, oh, you're not kidding. And it's just what it is. It's kind of crazy, and so no, I totally agree with you that one. Eric, Mike, I didn't know if you guys had a strong second. For you guys, if not, that's totally cool, but if so, by all means.
I just actually watched my strong second last night thanks to my partner. Sinister.
Just good one.
I mean, all those kind of movies kind of freak me out anyway, just because I'm a Latino family and we're superstitious about everything. But that movie scared the hell out of me. We started it at probably midnight, and I was just like, okay, we're gonna have to watch a
my God
after this.
Midnight.
Yeah,
time to play a board game, guys.
Also,
we started it at the devil's hour, and you're like, what?
But no, that movie with the whole ghosts and spiritual thing that does affect me a lot, and that movie scared the crap out of me. That's my strong second.
I don't blame you at all.
Choice. Yeah,
Mike, what about you, my friend? Oh, sorry. Go on.
Of course.
Go on.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Sinister. I think there was some article that came out that said that it's like the scariest, like statistically or scientifically, the scariest movie of all time because of like some of the elements that they do. It's a terrific movie. For me, I think there's so many close seconds. The Exorcist is certainly one of my favorites.
Ooh, yeah.
I think Paranormal Activity frightened me for days, honestly,
Oh.
because again, it's another this can happen to you. But if I'm going to go with a recent terrifying poop your pants scary movie, Hereditary freaked me the hell out, honestly. The imagery in that movie, it's just a spectacular movie, well acted by Toni Collette. But there's this one scene that I will always remember in the theater. You had to be in the theater to see it, where it's just a pitch black room, a guy wakes up in bed, and then all of a sudden, one by one, you start hearing people reacting, and you're like, what are they reacting to? And you see in the background, his mom is like floating up and watching him. Toni Collette, of all like the most amazing people in the world. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, what the? And then like, you just cut to him running away, and then her sawing her neck off with piano wire. And you're just like, what the hell is happening right now? It's the imagery in this movie is just so disturbing, so blood curdling, and it doesn't help that Toni Collette is such a tremendous actress that you're just buying into this the entire time. Robbed of an Oscar nomination for sure, but oh my God, what a terrifying goddamn movie, in my opinion. I love Hereditary so much. Nothing in the past couple of years has met that level so far in terms of recent horror. So yeah,
I have to agree with you. And the fact that not only Hereditary, but like, dude, I forgot how much Paranormal Activity freaked me out. It was almost the same thing how like talking about Blair Witch did to me in the early 90s as a kid, because I was ignorant to like social media and what people were doing. So the whole Blair Witch concept to me, that's how it was when I talk about Paranormal Activity. I freaked out. I could not like go home. Every cabinet moving by itself, I was like, God dang it, this is stupid. This is my own house. Why am I freaking out so much? So all these fantastic picks from Sinister to oh my God, you guys, excellent. And I know we're digressing because we also have a different category to discuss, but also want to go ahead and reach the comics here. We also have Steph mentioning in Kids' Choice. I would say Coco or Monster House. Scariest fun pick would be it. He goes, duck those clowns. yes. I'm telling you. Oh God, clowns. Yeah, I saw that on TNT of all freaking things. That scared the crap out of me. Q mentioned before, because I agree with you, Alex. After 3, I was out. I was out myself. He's talking in regards to the Saw franchise. He also said It, the film, was good scary movie, and I think it'd make kids hate clowns after this movie. Fully agree. Producer Steph mentions, what's up?
Go Tim Curry. Like he
right?
made people hate clowns.
100%. Oh my God. But also in regards to that here, his producer says, oh my God, The Invitation is a creepy movie, and it's hard for me to make friends. The Invitation. Oh my Lord. Have you guys seen The Invitation by any chance?
I've not seen it yet. No.
Put it this way. It will make you, when you see a red lantern outside, very concerned. So when you have an opportunity, Netflix Invitation, fantastic film. It starts off a not sure-ish kind of concept, and then hits you like a Mack truck going, oh my God, that's a really creepy concept. So that being said, also one more comment here. Q says, on the previous stream on my birthday, Eric can agree with me on this. Rocky Horror would be a good Halloween movie for reasons. It is a fun film with good music, and the characters are so good and different from each other, and it's a cult classic. It's also low budget and campy, but it works.
Every year, all around the inclusion. Rocky Horror shows up. October hits and it's Rocky.
Funny thing is that producer Steph also actually introduced me to that film, technically speaking, I knew of the film, but I never watched it until about a year ago. So it was a cool, I was like, it was fan. It's like, I've always heard of it, and I love acting. I love theater, and I always see, it's one of those things where, you get that one production you always hear about and you're never in or you never see. And I was pleasantly surprised. It was great. Tim Curry, oh my Lord, he fantastic job in that film, which along with many others too as well. But on to our next category, I'm going to go to the traditional go-to film, or what you do actually watch the most, almost as like a ritual for you guys here. So let's go on to start with you, Eric. Going into concept, what is your go-to on your or almost ritual on your go-to film?
My ritual go-to film, pretty much all year. I think I watch this movie at least once a month because I love it so much. Trick or Treat with Anna Paquin and everything like that. Like we have a little Sam. That movie for me, because I love comic books as well, or all of the storytelling and everything like that, just the way it's set up and transitions from panel to panel, and Sam pops up like he's doing on screen right now. But the overarching like connection and going back and forth through time and getting all these little intricate things and getting your spook scares and your blood and everything like that, witches, vampires, dead kids, bus drivers. Like, this movie, me and my mom loves it too. Like we watch this probably at least once a month because it's so good. A lot more people, it never went into theaters, so it's not widely known. Although this month, for the first time ever, it is going to theaters at AMC across the United States. You just have to find it. So I'm super excited to actually see it on the big screen for once in my life.
That's really cool, man. That's fantastic. And you know what? We have a little similar situation previous on one of our categories. I'm going to go introduce to you, Mike. What would your traditional go-to be ritual as well?
I wonder which. Erric, you and I are
right here.
You and I are aligned on this one, buddy. I'm going to piggyback off of everything that you said. I was really excited, and I kicked myself for missing this. This past weekend, there was a Beyond Fest, screening of Trick or Treat with Mike Doherty, the director and the writer, in attendance. I really wish I was there. It was a huge event. Everybody they had a Sam animatronic you can take pictures with, but this is just a really well done, beautiful movie that is the epitome of what a cult classic is. Every year, there's 1.5 million Christmas movies that come out. There are not that many Halloween movies. If you think about it, yes, there's the original Halloween, there's Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town, but you know what? I mean, Trick or Treat, it's immediately, as soon as it came out, became that quintessential Halloween movie. It established the rules of Halloween. It was just perfectly well written in the sense that this is Pulp Fiction set in Halloween, if you think about it. All of these interconnected stories are brilliant. The twists that you see coming, that you don't see coming, are brilliant and are introduced to you, early on in other stories, those elements and everything like that. So you get payoff with Dylan Baker's story about the serial killer and how it interconnects with the Anna Paquin story. Sam is present throughout all of this. It's a movie that creeps you out, yes, but also really makes you laugh at the same time. I mean, everything about the Sam story itself with the amazing Brian Cox, now of Succession, if you guys watch that, is both scary, but also somewhat hilarious and adorable at the same time, because Sam's kind of cute. So it's kind of like, I don't know how much more perfect you can get in terms of the epitome, the definition of a Halloween movie. This is a literal Halloween movie in the vein of Tales from the Crypt or Creep Show or any of those brilliant anthology movies. And I can't say enough how much I love this, much like yourself, Erric. Brilliant go-to Halloween movie that I have to watch every year.
Excellent. And Jordyn, I'm not going to make you go through this very quick here. So I'm going to have to go into the comments here. It looks like Nom Talk Network just redeemed a talk in third person. So I will be the one talking in third person. So don't worry about it. I got you covered, my friend. I'll take it. So for the team. All right. And I'll try to make this short in regards to make sure you're taken care of. So, Alejandro Cowie's choice for his traditional go-to film, which is the most ritual, would have to be a thing such as I sound like I'm talking in an accent when I do this. This is weird. I can't do this. So Alejandro Cowie's choice to do this would be The Lost Boys. That's Alejandro Cowie's choice. Is The Lost Boys. Is my traditional go-to. Is Alejandro Cowie's traditional go-to? Alejandro Cowie likes The Lost Boys because it's a great film that's a classic in which I'm scared that I'm not going to do this right. Alejandro's scared that he's not doing this right. Oh my God, this is going to be hard, guys. This is
going to be fun.
And look, there's destruction. Okay. Alejandro sees blinding lights. Alejandro's confused, dazed and confused, not to be confused by the movie itself. But Alejandro once again wants to mention that the movie, hold on, wait, Alejandro has to go into the comment section here because Q Ball is mentioning something here. All right, Q mentions, in my mind, correct me if Alejandro's wrong here, but in regards to Alejandro's pronounced his name wrong, Bela Lugosi in The Ultimate Vampire, his accent is sultry, demeanor is so dark and alluring, and in it's The Ultimate Vampire Classic. Oh my lord, Alejandro Cowie agrees with you, sir. Oh my god.
He does.
So Alejandro likes this movie because the vampires are also sexy. I mean, come on. Like, how can you not agree that the vampires in 90s attire? Oh, sorry, it was 80s / late 80s. What?
Alejandro Cowie is sorry.
Alejandro Cowie is sorry. I can't get timing of my movies that I love right. I can't even pronounce the names of my things right. Because I'm saying I should. Alejandro can't pronounce this.
You got 2 more minutes.
There's 2 more minutes of this crap. All right, guys. Well, Q says breathe. Alex, I'm trying to breathe. It's really hard. It's like Alejandro is trying to capture his breath once more.
Now try to do it while saying Galadriel, Numenor, the Floopaloop, the.
Do we have
No, Eric, just be glad you weren't hosting that night.
Alejandro is very frustrated by this redeemable thing of ours. Hydrate. Everybody hydrate.
Hydrate.
No.
Alejandro says hydrate. Hydrate. Damn it. Alejandro is going to go ahead and continue to speak in this third person point of view. Alejandro enjoys The Lost Boys because I can't. Oh my god.
Okay,
I'm done. I can't do this anymore. For some odd reason, when you're trying to speak in third person, I can't do it. But the point I was trying to make before I was dancing horribly around, or in my horrible attempt to speak in third person, is The Lost Boys is just fantastic. I mean, when you come into it, I will have to say the style and design of the vampires were badass. To me, not only could they be antagonists, but they were antagonists that I like low-key had like an antagonist crush on. I mean, come on. The fact that who they were, I mean, before this is who I was introduced to before I realized the Bill and Ted universe was, existed. So seeing, Alex Wonder come into a character that was silent and quiet and yet terrifying got to me. Going into the concept of every vampire, I mean, look at David. Even the fact that he was amazing himself, being a great vampire. Michael being the protagonist was, I would say, a classic kind of Odyssey style ish hero. He had a problem. He was going from point A. He needed to go to point B. Given the fact there are some exceptions and so forth. What?
Uh-oh.
You can't. Okay. So I can't say. Okay. All right. So the word shiitake mushrooms is but shorter is banned. So for how long? 5 minutes. Okay. I have to make sure I can't say that word. Do I say that word a lot?
We can't say what?
We can't say the word shit.
Short.
Got it.
No, saying the word. No, saying the word.
I say that.
All right, Q,
I'm so
I see you,
sorry.
sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. No,
Q,
no.
I feel attacked, but you know what? Good for you. I feel like that was a deliberate attack
and
on
judged at the same time, Q. No.
I'm very worried.
But all right, that was a little excessive my point in regards to the Lost Boy. I loved it so much that Steph was amazing. Producer Steph took me out to go to the bridge itself, to where they actually had the famous scene where they all hanging from the bridge. It was great. But along with, like I said, the classic Odyssey tale, when I first saw it, I didn't see the twist of, the shop owner being, daddy vampire. I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't see him being, the boss one in the concept. So to me, it also low-key introduced my love for lycans and werewolves, considering the fact it was only about the wolf or his hellhound. But as a kid, I looked it up and I was like, holy crap, there's this thing called a werewolf. And that definitely helped that whole lore of vampires and to me, lycans at the time being. So along with that there, I didn't know because I know it was kind of hard in regards to limiting our categories down to one. I mean, there's so many films coming up. Like coming into Jordyn, you mentioned The Descent. I'm a big fan of it. You guys mentioned Trick or Treat. I saw it for the first time last year. Shout out to the Gray family for introducing the film to me. They're amazing, and I had to watch the film to me. And I don't know if you guys have seen the movie. It was technically a remake with Paul Walker called Run. But he played a detective. You don't know at the time being he is a gangster, quote unquote, and he then goes through different trials and tribulations, proving trying to find somebody and helping a kid he cares about. In reality, it looks like there's alternative message that he has, and it goes through different tales. For some odd reason, Trick or Treat reminded me of a Halloween version of that, going through a character's journey and multiple stories and being creepy in general. So I love that different multiple perspective storytelling. So there's so many films out there. So my question to you guys, while we have a couple more minutes here, was there any close seconds for you in regards to go-to ritual films that you must see when it comes to Halloween? You know what?
Did Jordyn have one?
Yeah,
You know
did
what?
Jordan have to go for his
Jordyn, I totally skipped you, my friend. And
It's okay.
You know what?
It's okay.
Slap me on the wrist because I totally did like that.
He
I
has
totally
three
did,
know
guys.
self-
I
You know
feel
what?
horrible.
The
No,
third
no.
person thing
The third person threw me off.
that scared the shit out of you. That was a poop your
Alejandro
pants
is very
horror
thrown
film.
off by that redeemable
Yeah.
third
5 out of
person
5
point of
poops.
view. And he's going to
6 out of
apologize to
5
Jordyn.
poops.
He's going to
6 out of
apologize to
5
Jordyn.
poops.
You know
Now
what?
we
I think it's
know.
10 out of
Look.
5 poops, sir. Because
Look,
I-
and we know what scares the shit out of Alejandro is making him talk in the third person.
Oh, they're one of my favorite people in the world. I skipped him. What
You
kind of
can't say
bullshit is that? So, I said the S word. Dang it! It's not. I'm gonna hydrate anyway
Just
because I want
devolving
to.
into
So
chaos
Jordyn,
now.
so why I did a major boo boo and made the S word and skipped over one of my favorite people in the world? Can you please go into your traditional go-to most ritual film that I skipped my favorite person? I'm sorry, forgive me. I love you.
You're fine. So my film that I watch every year during this sort of spooky season, but also is a really good film to watch just in general, is Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. It is definitely one of those witchy movies, right? Like it's definitely American Horror Story, Coven, Hocus Pocus, like all of that. And I genuinely love this film. It is just it's a film about sisterhood. It's a film about just spooky things, right? Like people sort of shun or maybe are like, oh, we're not necessarily, the other, right? And it's a wonderful magical film that is absolutely 100% it's just a joy to watch. Sandra and both Nicole, they do such a great job in those positions. And then Stockard Channing is absolutely 100% just both of the aunties are just awesome. And then even the little girls, that they have that Sandra
Rachel
has
Evan
and all
Wood.
that. Huh?
Rachel Evan Wood, like one of her first things, like
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that was
Right.
her.
Hello,
Yeah.
Westwood. And like just all these people that sort of are in this film just make it. And there is a touch, obviously there's magic, there's mystic, blah blah blah. And you get a little Stevie Nicks, in there and all that stuff. And so it's just a feel good movie that it's got a little bit of creep factor, but also it's just a wholesome movie, I think, that you might be able to watch even with your kids, right? Like just to like teach them about, what sisterhood's all about and how to just be loyal to your family in that sense. And also just to sort of teach them about love, right? That like sometimes, there's, you don't know what attracts you to people, right? And it just, sometimes it happens, sometimes it's within your power. So that's definitely a traditional film that I watch every year around this time that is sort of close to my heart. So, yeah.
I love that you nailed it on the head when in regards to saying that, you take what you wouldn't be considered normal and like
Yeah.
being lovingly acceptable. I love that. Like, going
Yeah.
against the norm. And that's a big thing that I think we can all relate in regards to like just the horror genre or the spooky genre. Who would expect a cult classic to be about blood and gore, or who would expect a cult classic to be such as you mentioned, Jordyn, about the terms, witches or ghouls or figures that you would expect to be scared of or afraid of. And in reality, there's people like, for example, you have the really cute Trick or Treat doll that right there too as well. Not only can that movie be freaking like scary as shit, it can be semi endearing too as well. So I love that ability too. But time is cutting short, and that was because of my probably human malfunctions into third speaking voice and trying to make sure I hydrate and so forth and not saying the S word. So that was a little malfunction on my part. I apologize, guys. But before we go in that regard here, that's all the time we have today about talking about our choices. And once again, guys, thank you for all tuning in. Be sure to join in our Discord to keep the conversation going, as well to subscribing to our platforms at Nom Talk Network. Shout out to all my guests, Jordyn, Mike, and Erric. Thanks again for you guys joining in with it. Jordyn being OG with us all the time. Mike and Erric, for the first time I meet you guys. I know you've on previous shows as well, but this is the first time that I get the joy to work with you. So it's a joy to work with you, and I hope I get to see you guys more often. Along with this here, Nom Watch review and basic binges are in podcast form. You can listen to wherever you get your podcasts. So tune into the next show. And also, before you go, I want to forget, I want to give a shout out to you guys on your social media platforms. Jordyn, where can we find you, my friend?
I am on Instagram, CityOfStars13. You can follow me, like, comment, do things that make me feel good, and all that stuff. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Right on. I like that. Yeah. I like to do things that make me feel good as well. So I dig that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mike, my friend, where can we find you?
Thank you guys for having me. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TidyBowlBoy182, or on the Nerds of Color, or every Friday for She-Hulk recaps on Basic Binges.
Ooh, all good stuff. Fantastic. Erric, where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me on all socials at Heartless7 because I'm a video game nerd. That's where that comes from. Also, Nom Talk, now that I'm coming back from craziness, you'll find me here as well.
Right on. Excellent. I'm Alejandro Cowie. You can find me at I am Cowie. I am Cowie on Instagram, or Cowie Collector, COWIE Collector, where I do all toy photography and so forth. Or you can find me also on Talking My Trash and My Ramblings on Twitter itself. That'd be Crimson Cowie itself. Well, guys, thank you for joining us as usual. It's been fantastic, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Till then, you guys have a fantastic day.